right, welcome back. It's time for us to go into some communities and look at what is happening there. This segment of the show, we like to spotlight some of the challenges that are going on around the country, and I think it's a very important thing that we do because many times evil, as it were, untoward things, things that are less than our best continue to thrive when they don't get exposed, when the light is not shone on them. And so we use this segment to throw light on the challenges that we are facing as a country to do a number of things. So number one, first of all, to let everybody know that this is the reality and that if you happen to be living on a certain beautiful street or boulevard in Accra, it doesn't mean that's how the rest of Ghana looks like. All right, but then also to put pressure on duty bearers to ask them and insist that they do the right thing, and so on. So we're going to a cocoa area in Akem Nkwaman. Vivian Kailoko, if you remember yesterday, and if you didn't watch it, doesn't matter, you can go to Citi Tube and go watch it over there. But Vivian did a trip, to the eastern region and certain parts of the eastern region. Yesterday she was in the Kwabebrim municipality. We brought that report to you to see firsthand the devastation that has happened, cocoa farms that have been destroyed. Now, on today's one, she talks to some cocoa farmers and finds out from them, the reasons why they willingly give out their farms. When we come back from the report, Vivian will then take us further in to some of the other details that we didn't show you. Take a look at this report.
The activities of galamsey or illegal mining doesn't only have an impact on our water security, but also on agriculture. If you look around me, this is supposed to be a cocoa farm. In the eastern region, one of the predominant forms of agriculture you see is the cocoa farming, oil palm, among others. Driving through to get to this point, I am at a cocoa farm here in Akem Nkwaman, and from what you can see, and if you look around me, you can see destruction to a cocoa farm. This is actually a cocoa farm. You can see that the operators of this mine have indeed cleared parts of the cocoa farm just to embark on their activity. So you can see some of the cocoa ready for harvest, but have been raised down by, of course, the excavators. And if you can hear in the shot, you can hear the sound of an excavator already in operation. And so I'm making my way towards that place. Usually the huge digging of these places, you're not able to go beyond, but I'll try and do that. And you can see some splash or ponds of water already signaling that there's indeed some form of water body somewhere here. And you can already see that the water is not clear. You can see the brownness from it, showing that there's a bit of activity leading to the water changing its color. In my shot now is you can see the excavator in operation now. And of course, I'm unable to go beyond this point because of the heap of sand over there. Obviously, the excavator has dug it that high, almost close to the height of a ground floor building. So usually when you visit those farms, operators of these mines are not really happy to have you around, so they have declined to allow us to go further. But from the point I got to, the excavator is currently operating. You can hear the noise. Let's go and see more of what has happened here because of the activities of mining. Before what you're seeing some cocoa little seedlings planted over here. It used to be a galamsey site. So what I'm being told by Nanayao, this has been covered now. Now they've planted the cocoa here. How long has this been done?
Okay, actually for the past 4 years, they covered this, and then the owner of the land decided to replant the cocoa. Initially it was a cocoa farm, and he decided to replant the cocoa. So as you can see, he has done that and then trying to reclaim the land back.
Okay. So this is back to a cocoa farm. Okay, after you. I hope this is not a long walk. So we're going into the forest, sort of, here in the Kwabibrim municipality. We're looking at, of course, the impact of illegal mining on our environment, on our water bodies, and on agriculture. So this is a cocoa farm, and we're told some level of mining has happened here. So we hope it won't be as, unfortunately, it is as devastating as that. So in a shot, you can see another huge pond. This looks pretty old, something that's been left here for a while. So you can see a few trees of corn around here. And of course, you can see some water plants in there, showing that it's been here for a while. So this is another site of devastation from illegal mining. The ripe cocoa pods all over the place, showing that really there's some level of farming still happening here. But I want to show you some interesting aspect of this whole mining thing. So you can see another hole here. It's not as huge as the ones we've seen in the previous shots. Nanaya, what is happening here?
There's another form of mining, but these people, they use a detector. Yes, a detector. So they would dig like this. A trench is about 7 feet down, and then after they've done this, they will use the detector. So where the metal is, it will easily detect it with a sound. So the detector will show the position of the metal, that is the gold, and they will easily take it.
Okay. So you have these types of holes also scattered around?
Yes, please. Okay. Yes.
So these people, most are not from this community?
Yes, most are not from this community, especially those coming from the northern part of the country. They are into these activities more. Yes, because we living around, we were not into mining. It was some people who brought it here. So whenever they are coming, they will bring their troops to come and do the activities over here. And per their donation and other things, you can see that they are not real Akem people. They are from different part of the community, like the Volta region, the northern part of the country, coming to this area to perform these activities. So not necessarily the indigenous from the community. Though we have some people.
Not much.
Yes.
And then how do you?
Abeni koko ni body ni kodu.
Into irene. More money. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Adabi we mi ka omuni.
Na se say who say aha no bia de ne farm no ma galafo no. What dey onye sa?
Dabi mi de mi ye.
Musi ya kwane de enye wanya kula ba bi efiri ba se nyame nko a so mbe tukwa no be kata so ama ye nkula anka ye
na first na kwane te say
e kwane de enye e kwane
first na ye ba te say gold for na say no
ade omu nam so na ye say na de
wo ma tu ke kwane no ma tu amana na o ma nkata so o anti ye bre
so 190 ye na ju se si a wa kure won kwa enti so mbe tukura no be kata so ama ye yake ye pe
ye hu say mo nafofo no omo ton asase no ma
won pesika ne de e kan ne no wa ton ama won ti wa ton won de so won wa se wafu omu se ebenya won akoton ne de enti no mo adwi no mo de agugu de so no wa se no
na mo de no mo se
ye de ye wachiri kakra e so
e be do time bia on be do
sa
mo be sen mo be de
ni ya mpeni biem se de be bi on western o mu ntwensi hwa
na mo wo na fofo mo akomu ana fiefo bi na mo ye galamse mo agya family
oh galamse de akesese ono ana mo ye o ka kura wo mu tiase
sese ya ye ku adwuma no aye koku adwuma na aba ma nsem agu nti sese ye obi agara de be kan asase bia obotu
ana na wo say aba ama mo sa
percentage a ori to koku mayenga ye hu se ye brekwa ena obati koku a obenya koku be 5 bags no abo ho ka bro 1 bag a wo ton koku 1 bag a wo tumi to anwa 1 gallon na se na asase da na gold wo mu no bi ba na obeton wo nya ne sika obotumi data anwa ne bi obeton eno ka mi ne mu wo tunu mo nti amaku adwuma ne ye wa ne ye bre ye nya support bi amfi aba no kuku anya sie mbosi ebeduan ebo odo to man emwaen ndia ma ye ho kire ye
nti ye mamo seedlings omo be spray mamo fertilizer anya sa
why ye send yama nyina awie a why ye send yama nyina awie a na se si adna ba enti se wo tu nya biribi pa bi fim wo be hwe kuani o te ye mrante ye fa ehunwura kuadwum ye de ehunwura kuadwum ma ye na nam ye bato mi na ya nkokora ba mu udam eno mo da besi ne obi de ne hu wura garam semu a bosuma bi sam bosuma asia obekọ no wasifie kama nti sa asase na beto na obetu nti sa aba na pese kokoo no ebekọ na nimu dia ene board ton ompegem na wo ye kuadwuma na wo nso wa den wanya komato yam bi na wo nso otumi ene wo nso wenya biribi pa bi afim afio so mutu kokoo bi am kokoo bokoto ye na hwe bi ane ma kodu ene ufie kokeda 18 cedis obekọ kede ba na se wo ko 40 cedis na se wo koto kokoo bag ba ko na se 8 million dia hade na betum dia ne akola ko school kura na man 5 cedi enson
na you say ye two mo koko you say mo surprise when you okay yes I know
so price ni dia nye but wo tutu akoko no ho dia obeje price no de man dia nye but wo hwese na obebre koko ho anfe ne mere na onya hwefim dia obeje ni sa na do ko so be no dia ye
ko ntimi fa koko ya ton wo dwa so anti ono anti hwe na nye ya no twa wade no dia dua be
anti say be mo de call Ivory Coast
I say you have ya untumi ya wade emuwa untumi fa koko nkotra boda omba chiro kura san agere wa kan enti
mo fa price no sa
anti wo nya ma no acha no dia dua be me twa ade dua be abe
nti say be mo jai koko no mo ina mo call different abeni niama
dia no aneko because it's a man so pese koko be bo man hu se o man koko bo an dia ene koko no bo no pejam na yes ade ene by 2 years time na ya de koko no obenya bi obakwa kope bo se na ba na be ya man neka because it's koko no onya bi
yensu ene ye kroje nguduru ha woti se enso ne ye de esu awochia na oje so ye bibia enso se enso we wodi bodua kra enye yi esade ne futuru enso first wo ka se si ebenya won so se wo ye ne hwe enye yi nti yensu ne mamu de in fact ye hadwen
no so say insuo enyama mo ye no mo de chemicals enyama so hwem
se ye dan ye kobo space ye nyenso afa mo ese enso ne se anya yi atache nko a ti ye se me ye no ma ne kra ye nguso na say first nka koko nka ye gusu bi se empla na emprenu enso de be gusu krampo ye nya bi enti na agbapo enti enso ne so de agya wai ne de ye ne nye ho kura
tuma bia ni esi ni jehu se nka omba ton asase de ne mu mo kwa mo de fa so no ombe so no mo ye adwuma no fa ne se wu ankasa no akaka kra bia ha de hasna na bedding because who number bi kra anya de ensu nti ensu fifie kwa obenya ensu kra na wa de wano nti ahastra ne garam se ne de anya de eboa nti se otu ho na mo bia se wo sizi ayepe
sa
ne mo mpe na yepe na te se kuye na ye ne so yenya amu niama pa bi eden efiri mu a wo so ye kuye na wo benya ni gi ho because kokoo e wo bo na me koton na makoma to me yemu me hu hia se me koton magaram si efise ye na nanom no no madi ya na ye papa ma beto aso na ye nso ya ba enso ne na msa ho kira abanti ye mo fra no mu ma beton ajapad ne sen nti da chi akiri ma ba mobo enso si yes imprempre zigana ne hia yen nti sane man de mo na mo ka edugam nti mo ma ayi afro ne.
All right, so there you have it. You heard all those cocoa farmers and family of cocoa farmers just expressing the reality of what it is that they find themselves in, how it is they came to this point, and what's really happening now. And it looks very bleak. The future looks very bleak. But Vivian, who was there speaking to them, is still here with me this morning, and let's find out a bit more. So Vivian, I mean, it looks like even the conversation about reclamation and restoration and hopefully trying to bring back the livelihood, it's almost like a lost cause in a certain sense, because it's like the younger generation is already getting a taste.
They're already into
of
the
disparity.
mining. Yeah, they're already in the mine. They can already see, even the old folks can see those of their colleagues who've gone into mining and the benefits they're reaping. They can see farmlands being destroyed. They can see their produce raking in less revenue.
Yeah.
They can see difficulty in access to water, to for irrigation purposes.
Yeah.
They can see the absence of modern ways of going into cocoa happening around them. So then, what is the good reason that you can tell your mind to stay in a business like this? This is the reality we all need to look at. I think this year the boss of Cocoa Board even spoke about the troubling times ahead of us because of the continuous increase in the sale of farmlands to people in the mining sector. And yesterday I was looking at the figures in terms of the output now for cocoa production. I remember when I was mainly a business reporter and the discussion was around increasing the production of cocoa, and it was channeled on the 1 million metric tons at the time. And it was back and forth. And we were trying to make sure as a country that we don't go below the 800 at the time, because 1 million was one of the biggest figures you could have at the time. But today, when I'm looking at the figures from the Bank of Ghana and all that, 2021, 2022, we are expecting to get 683,000 metric tons.
Whoa.
When in
in
2021, 2020, we got 1 million metric tons. The year before, the cocoa season, and our next one is dropped to about 600,000 metric tons.
Wow.
Meanwhile, in crop year, we had 811 metric tons. 2019 to 2020, 770 thousand metric tons. And then 2020, 2021, we went up to the 1 million.
So it's sort of climbed up and then immediately it's plummeting.
But
wow.
Sadly, from what is happening, I'm not sure we'll get the 600,000 metric tons for the next season. Wow. Because if even Cocoa Board has come out to say that there are a lot of farms being sold to the Galamsey people, farmers are losing interest in cocoa farming and all that. That figure of the 600,000 that we saw for the last crop season, I doubt if we'll see it. And then if you also look at the exports, our revenue from exports from cocoa. In 2019, we got about $2.2 billion. 2020 moved to $2.3 billion. 2021, $2.8 billion. Now, 2022, we are hoping to get 1.4. So a drop from the 2.8 for 2021 to 1.4 in 2021. So cocoa, which is one of our top revenue, earners, top 5, now we are seeing 1.4. Now the gold that we are all moving towards, thinking that is the end of the world. Look at the figures for gold in terms of revenue. In 2019, it was at $6.2 billion. 2020, $6.8 billion. 2021, $5 billion. 2022 half year, you are seeing $3 billion. So you can see the drop in this one as well. So both ways, we are having a challenge in terms of the revenue we are getting from both the cocoa but my question is, why would you want to kill one for the other? Don't you want the two?
You need the two. You need the two. It doesn't make any sense. Why would allow one to perish? At the expense of
the
another.
other.
Meanwhile, the reality is that the proceeds from Galamsey are actually not things that we realize in reality. It's going into individuals' pockets. Do you see? So the country itself, the nation itself is losing.
Because what we see from these figures here, you have the large-scale mining and the small-scale mining making up these figures. The illegal part, like you're saying,
you're not getting it.
You're not getting it.
So you're losing twice.
Yes.
You are losing whatever you would have gotten from the illegal side, plus you're losing all that the cocoa farms that from the cocoa farms that are being destroyed. You're losing all of that as well.
You're losing all that.
And I'm surprised that our technocrats have brought out all these figures and everything else, and yet the politicians who wield power and authority in the nation are watching as we are doing this to ourselves. It's like we are destroying the future before we get there.
It's a helpless cause. They make it feel like a helpless cause.
How can it be a helpless cause?
Because, I mean, and at a point we're tagging along till we saw traditional leaders step up.
Yeah.
We're tagging along till we saw that, no, there's so many ways of doing this.
Even there's no problem that we've encountered as a country that has ever made us helpless, that we found ourselves, we could not do anything. But there was a time when armed robbery was rampant in this country. Yeah. We dealt with it. We've dealt with so many different things. COVID came. We were one of the shining stars in COVID.
The question now is to look at the reasons why government, authorities, whoever is in charge in dealing with this menace, why they are struggling to solve the problem and then tackle it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm told there was a CDD report that said that campaigns of both parties were being funded by money from Galamsey.
Yeah. Now, that sounds interesting.
So if you have that situation,
that sounds interesting.
Would you want to hold this, stop this thing when
you're getting money from it, right?
From it.
You know, I mean, and I can imagine what the issues are, because you see, people like the MPP chairman for the Ashanti region have been, his name has been mentioned, his company has been mentioned as part of being part of, you know, the illegal.
He says he has a license. He was given, you know, he has a license, and he was given those concessions, and you proved to us. We are still waiting for that, though.
So what I find interesting is that do they have, you know how, let's say, Ashanti Gold, for example, has a concession and is that the kind of mining he's doing?
Well, you see what?
Or he has a concession to use excavators to dig.
Well, that's an interesting question. But what we also found out from where we went to, there are some concessions that have been given to proper companies. Yeah. And some of them cut out some of the concessions and give it to these illegal miners. Do you understand? This thing is serious. It's not just what you face value. Okay. So there are some. Because even if you look at About Town,
a proper license and a concession.
Yes.
And then they will cede off some
because they can't do, you know. Yeah, all of them. They cede off to some of these illegal mining guys. So if you watch About Town, Caleb's Son, some of the miners were explaining to him that some of the concessions belong to proper, and they've given it to them for them to go ahead. And so you have, in such cases where these people do all types of mining, there's nobody to, you know, ensure that they do the right thing. You have that because they are not really specialized or into. So you have that aspect of mine. You have people who live in the community or come from wherever, and then go through wherever and use a detector and do what kind of mining they want to do.
It's very interesting. You know,
but I'm saying we need to find out the top 3 reasons why authorities are struggling to stop illegal mining, and then we tackle
definitely the political party financing could be one of them. You know. And then maybe individual, you know, benefits, you know, for certain persons could also be another part, you know, another aspect. Anyway, well, we do have a cocoa farmer who we're going to be speaking to right here on the show, but we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into that conversation.